insight video today. Again, I've been talking a lot about over the last few days about possibilities opening up, sort of like anchoring in energy, and it still seems to be following this kind of like flow at the moment. And flow is like a really important word when you talk about like spiritualism and spiritual reality. Flow connects to things like when we start talking about the universal law of oneness, and we start talking about things like when we talk about like the ascended master Almora that talks about or connects to the energy of divine intelligence and divine oneness and the divine flow. Is very much sort of like divine intelligence is being open to information. It also connects to sort of like Archangel Gabriel, the messenger, and also sort of can connect to like Archangel sort of Zadkiel, which is very much around like spiritual truths and spiritual understanding and wisdom. Also connecting to sort of like universal teachers like Melchizedek, that brings sort of like this opening up to like universal consciousness, universal wisdom, universal flow, and it also links into like the universal laws. And this time's very much around that. It's very much around where we're starting to open again. We're opening up to this flow of energy, this flow of source, which is the flow of like creation, and the flow of sort of like spiritual understanding, in the way that we start to have awareness of our own energy, and how we start to use this within our lives, but how we integrate it as well. I've been talking about a lot of it like over the last few months about integration of sort of like the higher self with the human self, and this is very much around again sort of the flow is very much around this, where we start to open up and we start to become these open channels. The feelings I'm getting today are very much around sort of like peace, presence, and harmony again. So that very much connects to sort of Ascended Master, Jesus, which was very much around presence. It was about being sort of like connected to the energy, connected, being very sort of like conscious of our energy, very conscious of others' energy as well. So the Ascended Master Jesus was very much around sort of like healing, harmony, balance, being open and being very present, to the flow of the universe, the flow of intuition, the flow of insight, the flow of sort of awareness, being very conscious of what's being created within the moment, and that's very much around what presence is. And I feel sort of like that this is the kind of feeling that I'm getting sort of like very much today. I've woken up very much around about peace and presence and about harmony today. I've talked yesterday very much around sort of like the external world again, and I think the external world is important, to sort of like gain awareness of, because there's at times where we're sort of the external world and the things that we're getting attached to within the external world, obviously affects our frequency. And again, this is the universal law of frequency and vibration. And when we're talking about sort of ascended master, we're talking about presence, and we're talking about sort of like, I was talking about ascended master Jesus, but I'm also talking about sort of Lord Lanto, which is the ascended master, who talked about illumination, illuminated heart. And it's very much around sort of again sort of like being aware of our vibration, our frequency, our energy, which is so important, because this is what allows us to vibrate in a way. And it also allows, again, it connects to Saint Germain, and it connects to the universal law of transmutation and transformation, how we sort of dissolve things, and we don't become attached or sort of like caught up in these kind of things. Presence is very much around that as well. Presence is very much around that as a vibration, as a frequency. It's the understanding that as spiritual beings that we can start to vibrate in a way that we're not, and we become conscious and aware that we're not getting caught up into those things. And again, this connects to the universal law of correspondence, where it's about creation, and it's about this kind of this sense that we're creating from our vibration, our frequency. We're creating the external reality, and it's the understanding that our vibration, our frequency is what allows us to sort of create, but also to align. And this is where the harmony comes from. This is where that balance and the alignment comes from. And it's very much around this time, is very much around that. It's very much around sort of like we're in again this sacred space, we're in our own vibration, and when again this connects to Lord Lanto with the illuminated heart, it's being in that source energy, and it's vibrating in that, and realizing that, you know, the external world and the universal law of correspondence is that when we're vibrating from source, when we're vibrating from our essence, that we're creating a harmonious and present reality. And this is what this time's about. And I feel like the Ascended Masters are giving us this very much so. Again, it connects the universal law of sort of cause and effect. You know, every action has an effect, but also if we're vibrating from a place of peace and presence, then we're creating a reality. And our actions, our thoughts, and our feelings that we're creating will be very much within presence, and will be within harmony, and very much connected to source. It connects to the law of attraction, where we start to sort of attract within our own realities, the abundance and the universal sort of presence. Again, that we're sort of like these conscious beings that are creating harmony and creating new vibrations and new frequencies, within our physical lives. And it's very much around, again, going deeper and going beyond that physical reality. It's not being sort of attached to the daily things that we get caught up in with like money and stuff like that, because that's sort of like, again, is surface things. They're very much like third dimensional reality, 3D reality, and we're shifting and moving past that. Again, it connects to things like heaven and earth, where it's this fifth dimensional reality, where we're opening up our energy channel, and we're becoming aware again of being these spiritual beings in a human experience. And this is why it's so important that we do the integration of the higher self, or the infinite self, in with the human self, because in this reality, in this level of consciousness, on this plane of existence, we're in a physical reality, but we're also here to awaken and remember our soul qualities and our spiritual essence, our spiritual vibration, our spiritual frequency. I feel very strongly at the moment as well. I've woken up this morning and I feel very strongly that we've got very much like an angelic presence around us, a very angelic sort of like frequencies. I feel they're very much around us. The last couple of days, I felt like the angelic presence around us, with like the angel wings and the angel sort of vibration, the frequency. And again, angels bring harmony. They work within the universal law of oneness. You know, again, which is this infinite sort of flow of the universe, this infinite flow of the universe that all of us are connected to. And as we open up our channels, we become more conscious of them, we become more aware of them, and we become more aligned with them. And this is the journey. This is the frequency. It's about sort of like becoming more aligned, and like letting go and allowing the flow of the universe to come in, into our consciousness and into our energy. And when we start to do that, then we start to, again, I've talked about this sense of possibilities and opportunities, and again, this connects directly to the the universal law of attraction. But it also connects to the universal law of compensation, which is this, you know, this universal law, which is what you create, again, is what you attract. Is sort of like, it's compensation works by whatever you're creating within the universe is what you receive, in that sense. So it connects into like the law of attraction, that your vibration connects and attracts these things in there. But the universal law of compensation is around that. Every action that we're doing creates like an outcome, and the universal law of compensation works in that way. Is like with the universe, it is a direct reflection, it's a direct mirror of what we're creating. And this is what this time's about. And this is what the masters bring. They bring wisdom, they bring knowledge, they bring spiritual practices and spiritual understanding, as well as universal like teachers, as well as the angels. They're all bringing us back into harmony. They're bringing us back into this one vibration, this flow of the universe, this flow of source, light, and creation. But it's also, again, it's about opening us up, and again, once again, allowing us to connect to this infinite infinite vibration of the universe. But it also connects us into the many different realities, the many different sort of dimensions. And as we start to open up to it, we start to receive, and we start to then become more aligned with higher wisdom, higher knowledge, higher understanding. And we can only do this when we start to vibrate in a more spiritual way. And it only works through the integration of the infinite self or the higher self with the human self. When we start to walk as light, we start to walk as these spiritual beings again once on this earth plane. And again, this is what happened in many different sort of like cultures before. When you talk about Atlantis, you talk about Lemuria, they were aligned, they were in harmony, they were in balance. And this is why the universal laws are so important, because they give us an understanding of how to live more spiritually. And when we start to live more spiritually, then we open up our channels and we open up our consciousness to start to be more aligned with the infinite teachers, the spiritual masters, the angelic presence, and the universal teachers, but also the vibrations and frequencies of many different realities and dimensions that are existing at the same time. We're supposed to be in union with these. We're not supposed to be disconnected. And this is why transmutation and transformation is really important, because we're moving to different states of being, and as we start to do this, we start to become more aligned again with a higher vision and a higher sort of version of ourself, which is the infinite self, which is again this higher self. And this is what we're doing. Harmony is really important, and peace and presence. I've talked about that quite a bit in this insight today, but I feel this is really important. And I feel like, you know, there's been a shift with like receiving energy over the last couple of days. I feel very much more in harmony and peace and presence, but it's also about sort of like remaining in that peace and presence. And I feel sort of like this is how I need to approach my reality at the moment. And I feel like that, you know, this is a new vibration of frequency. You know, there's always peace, harmony, and sort of like presence around us, but it's sort of like I feel like our energy's open up to be more conscious of it, and to also integrate it and be able to sort of like create it more within our reality, because our channels are opening up. Our sort of like our energy channels are opening up. And this is what's needed. And I also feel it's balancing sort of like as I sit there and connect into, I feel like my crown chakra, my third eye, my sort of like throat chakra, my heart chakra, all of them are aligning as I start to become more into this balance and more into this presence. But I also feel it allows my my higher consciousness to come online, and it comes online in my not in my like human mind, but my sort of like spiritual mind. But it also comes online with my physical body, as I'm starting to feel the vibrations and the frequencies within my physical body. But that's because my energy field's opening up, and it's allowing this energy to start to flow through. So yeah, it's very much around being present and being in harmony, being aligned, and very much being more living in a more conscious way, and integrating that wisdom, so we can walk on the earth plane in a more spiritual way, and start to sort of to express our energy and our light in a different way, and be very much more conscious. And this will help shift our frequency. And again, this will align all the universal laws of like attraction, cause and effect, compensation, correspondence, the universal law of vibration. This will bring us more into oneness. So as you start to see, we start to step into this light and this energy, we start to align the universal laws and the universal sort of frequencies in our consciousness, but in our own energy field. That's the insight for today.